Hello and welcome to episode 14 of this tutorial series. Today I'm going to make a wizard's tower that the player from the previous forest scene can get to recover some magic item or a magic spell, or to beg the help of the wizard to help save the castle from whatever is currently threatening it. For this I'm going to use from the buildings pack and from insides Gothic buildings. I have Gothic building 4, which is a rather nice Romanesque building with the benefit of being able to go inside and having a rather nice floor, nice shadow effects, and an open view into absolutely nothing. I'm going to hide the outside world from the inside view because I want the player to be exclusively inside this. This is a small level consisting of just this. I'm going to do that by a combination of the terrain being raised so the player can't literally escape, and other objects to create a sort of a wizard's workshop. I may have it actually that the outside of this, for example, if I created ridges, whoops, wrong button. If I created ridges all around the tower and then put various rocks and plants there, it would sort of be like a garden for the wizard, but not like a pretty garden, more sort of a magical component garden, and so he can grow the various herbs and things he needs for his spells. That gives it a valid reason of being there, and also gives it an excuse that the player cannot get out. So if I press G, go to the top down, and increase this level to about there, and then level that out, I can then go around this tower at that level using stored level mode and create an enclosure for the player. Now that enclosure is a bit too enclosed for me. I'm going to make a bigger one. Let's say like that. Yeah. I make it a bit thicker, and then I get my smooth brush, increase its size, and just round it down a bit because I don't want jaggedy edges. I am going to use rocks and plants and things to make it more authentic, but there's no excuse for stretched textures. Now I don't have to do the outside because the player would never get there. It would be wasted effort. Just the inside matters, because the player's not getting up here. We just want it to. He's probably not going to look at it all that much either. It's just a curio, something to have the. It doesn't really affect the game. It's just a background colour. It's not. I wouldn't even go so far as to say it's a red herring. It's just the background, really. So there we go. Let's smooth that out a bit there. Then press E to go into entity mode and G to go top down. Grab this, extract it, and bring it over here. If we have our start marker, let's say we'll have it in the center, and then test game. I'm going to introduce fog to bring the player's vision very close to the camera, and I'm also going to change the terrain to something suitable for a wizard, and the sky, because this is in a completely different place. So we test game to get onto the game world, and from here you just step outside and have a quick look around. It's sufficiently enclosed. Tab to get to the settings screen. We'll bring the fog right down and make it a blue fog or a purple fog. That's quite magical. So purple is red and blue, more red than blue. There we go. And the terrain type, let's have a look now. Let's think desert maybe. We want something a bit neutral so the blue of the fog can be the dominating colour of the scene. And if you had a too vibrant a landscape, it will detract from that. Now, that fog's too much. We'll just push it out a little bit. I want it mainly on the walls, or the opposite wall to where you are, so that's alright. Now this looks slightly raised. I might bring this down a few pixels, maybe. Actually, no, I'm going to leave that like that. But the shadow's nice. I'm going to put a few lights in this scene to create nice detail, and I will surround this now with rocks, vegetation and plants. Also, thinking ahead, I want a way to get out of this place. And if your player starts here and does his thing, we want an exit perhaps in one of these cliffs, which will be opened up when it's time to leave. So you can't just arrive and leave. You have to get here, do something, and then leave. So, oh, the sky, that's completely inappropriate. Sky type, clear, no. We'll say red. No, that's too contrasting. Blue. Nope, too bright. Overcast. Too fluffy. Hazy. Too grey. Golden. No. Dark. That's a very sharp contrasting line between the now purple mountains and the black of the sky, but if we undulate the tops of this mountain like that but more, it should be okay, because this is very stargazy, which is wizardry sort of thing. So that's the winner for now. Let's have a quick look around. Clear, no. Volcano, no. Sunset, no. Moon cloud. No. I like the dark one. So we'll go for dark. Dark. And vegetation. We don't have any vegetation, so we'll come back to that in a minute, because I will put vegetation on this. So, escape, back to the map editor. G to go top down. Paint grass. Tool. Expand receptacle, and just paint it in the area between the wizard tower and the mountain, sparing nothing, just to make sure as well it doesn't go too far up the mountain. So we'll hold down shift and delete that, paint it there, also making sure it's not going into the structure. So if I increase the receptacle so it covers everything, hold down shift and just wiggle the cursor a bit, I can make sure no grass is encroaching to the tower. Put overzealous there, I'll just put that back in. There we go. Right, I like that. Press E to go back to entity mode, and we will say if you come in facing that direction, then this direction will be the exit. Press T for terrain. We'll go level mode. We'll take the level of the floor and just bring it down slightly. If I then go the level of the top of this mountain, click, and go to stored level mode, I can expand these mountains to take that curve and make it work. I will then take my smoothing brush, expand it, and just give the whole thing a smoothing out. I've not decided how this is going to work yet. I just know this is where the player will get back to his own world, forest, plane of existence, whatever the story requires of it. So if I press entities, I'm going to find those rocks that I like so very much. Classics. Nature, is it? Nope. Oh, it's foliage and furniture. Foliage. I'm going to start with a few trees, actually. Some nice trees. I'll put the rocks on around the trees. Oh, well, it's nice. Is there a mystical tree? Does it have roots? Oh, very good. Okay, we'll like this. Okay. So, I've got it at the height I want. I extract. I press I to create my circle. Press the plus key to increase the radius of that circle. Press G to go top down. I'm going to spray these on, like so. Press T and E to reset my cursor to standard entity mode. I'm going to delete a few of these trees which are in silly positions because of the spray. So he's gone. Delete, 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 and so on and so forth. I'm going to stop the video here and come back once the trees are thinned out a little bit. Okay, I've removed the bulk of the trees from the tops of the mountains, but I wanted to actually go into this one into the video. If you come down to the player's eye view, you have a better idea of which trees are misbehaving and which are not. For example, this one up the mountain, delete. Sometimes you might find two trees stuck inside each other, like here. So you just take one of them, delete. You see, this one, the two overlapping, so delete one of those. And by going through at the player's eye level, you can get a better idea of what the player can see, and so you're deleting things. Oops, that was the extract. You're deleting things which don't fit, rather than just indiscriminately deleting a bulk of trees from the top view, where you don't really get to see what it looks like from the player's perspective, because perspective is very important. It's okay if the branches at the top intermingle slightly, because they do, but trunks don't often. There's only a certain type of tree that will choose to grow in the same place as another tree, and this isn't one of them. And that one looks like it's fell over. I'll keep that. Too clustered, so I'll get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. I won't get rid of that, but I will move it, because I don't want too much space empty. I will be using rocks and stuff, and there's already grasses and things. Now get right down to the floor and make sure that no trees are levitating, because sometimes that can happen. I mean, yeah, no. I mean, it's okay if the roots are exposed a bit, because that could have been caused by a runoff from where it grew into soil and the soil is no longer here. So you'd expose roots like that, but as long as the majority of it is in the floor, that's fine. And from the actual lowest point you can be, you can really see, because you can almost guarantee if you have an object in your game that's levitating, somebody will find it. It's almost guaranteed. So at that, press G, come up again. That's a nice nice distribution of trees. Now come back in. I'm going to save that real quick as game_tower. I did a lot there with saving, that was bad. I should have saved at least 3 times in that interval. So now I'm going to get some rocks. So add new entity, click, and it's under scenery, the standard GameGuru folder, scenery. And you have these 10 rocks, which I like a lot. They are grey, nondescript, blend into the background. They go well with the natural rock terrain, and really they're just handy. So if you get them out here, and I'm going to put the rocks on the edges of the world like this, for 2 reasons. The first reason is I don't want them being just standing stones in the middle of a forest. That doesn't make much sense. And having them close to the rock line means it breaks up the line of the cliff from the floor, which breaks that that line of the eye you can see, and it also means it gives the player a harder time trying to scale the rocks, like out of some games where you can just jump up mountains when you're not supposed to be able to. It makes it a little bit harder. So we just put some rocks down, intervals, and I'm going to go in later and increase the number of rocks to suit the scene. Put the big ones down first, the biggest gaps. On the smaller rocks, to fill in the spaces left by the bigger rocks. So let me get rid of that tree. I don't like it anymore. 4. I think this is the last of the big rocks. I think from here on they start getting smaller. So I will, yeah. Where's the first rock? We'll go back again. Okay, I'll start from 1 again. 1. I'll put him there. The great thing about this, of course, is if you use the same rock there and here, it looks like a different rock because of the orientation. So there's one less job you have to do. Little cheat there. I'll put him in there. Put some more rocks here. 5. Oh yeah, that's a biggie. You can go there. So I can always shrink it down if it's too big. In fact, where's my little tunnel actually? There it is. I put a rock in it. Okay. Oh, I was looking at it. Okay, that's fine. We'll just move him over there. So, now, something else, which would be very useful here. If you're hovering over your scene like this, and press Tab in the editor window, it cuts off the tops of the entities in your scene. It makes it incredibly useful for placing things inside buildings. I believe this was touched upon briefly when I was doing the fishing village, but in this case, when you have a lot of trees, it makes it very handy for placing rocks on the edges. Because as you can see, it's much easier to see the rocks here than there. So with that in mind, I'm going to carry on placing rocks at various points on the edges of the scene. And that is just a few rocks placed scattered along the edges. One thing I would like to add here to make lives just a little bit easier is, as covered in a previous video, when you select an entity and you placing it on the floor, it will try to automatically level to find where the floor is. This happens on terrain and also on other entities in the world. So it would try to climb up trees and rocks and wherever else you have. It makes it very awkward if you're trying to put things online on the floor, because it will try and go up the mountain. If you just hit page down quickly, tap, it will no longer try to find the level floor because you've manually set its level. It won't try to adjust accordingly. This is more noticeable if you're on the grid, when it just jumps up by an entire game unit. But even on free placement, just a little tap on page down lets you place the rock without worrying about it climbing up trees or buildings or mountains. Now that I've placed the rocks down, I'm going to test my game just to make sure I've got the visual effect I'm looking for. From there I can see what else is needed, where it's needed, and any changes I may want to make. Now already I like it. The grass is wrong, it's too green, but I like the effect that I'm seeing now. This is a very magical, mystical forest. I'm impressed with this, but not with the grass. I'm going to change that now. Double tab to get to the world settings, and vegetation tab, not bushy. Now just have a look around and see what you like. I mean, I've got a few favourites I like icy I like, but that wouldn't work too well here, and that's just too busy because I want to place things as well. This is supposed to be a wizard's garden with reagents, not some overgrown forest jungle. I just want something to break the lines of the floor, so no. A lawn grass? No. Weedy. Too busy. Too busy. Now I think maybe the problem I'm having here is I literally painted the grass everywhere on full colour. I think I need to thin it out a bit in the editor. So I'm going to go back to icy, because I did like that. I'm going to press escape now. Press G to go up to the top. Paint grass mode, and then I'm going to hit tab so I can see what I'm doing. Holding then shift, I'm going to reduce the thickness of the grass in this scene. This should help to make it a little bit less populous in terms of background shrubbery. So test game again, and yes, it's a lot less than it was, and in vacant in patches, which is kind of what I wanted. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through, I'm going to place down plants from the foliage folder in various places in this scene to give it an extra edge of mysticism. I'm also going to delete these trees because this is going to be my exit. I'm thinking a large doorway, a mystical doorway, which will activate once I've done what I've come here to do and take me back to my forest. So press escape. I will press E to go back to entity mode. Delete the offending trees. Gone. Gone. The rock was a bit in the way, so I'm going to move him just further into the mountain and perhaps move this tree so he's not being eaten by the rock. And here I don't have a mystical doorway, so I will find one. I believe there are some pretty cool things in Mega Pack 2 and the Mystic Library. Or is it Mega Pack 3? Or 1? There it is, Mystic Library. Now I'm going to use something, it's not here then, Fantasy Pack. I think there's some cool things in Fantasy Pack. Let's say, there it is, Fantasy Pack. Buildings, a stone wall, ruined stairs, wall. Yeah, that's what I need. A nice wall. So I will tab page down so it doesn't start moving around. I'm going to put this here, like so. Now I'm going to change this later, this is just for now. I'm going to take some crypt ruin stairs maybe. Some stairs to a portal. Okay, I'll put this here for now because this is where I want it to be. We'll call this a placeholder graphic. A placeholder graphic, if you're not familiar with the term, is something you place down to act as something until at such a time you can get the real thing to put it there. So with that, I will save and I will test game to make sure everything is as I like it. No, I will not, because I still have to put down some foliage. So if we go to the foliage folder and find some nice bushes, so bush, I will place these down near to trees, I think. Just tap the page down and I'll put them randomly in places. If I hold down shift and press R, I get them spinning, so I'm never faced with the same front twice. Or at the least I've got 359 chances not to have it facing the same direction. I will just randomly. There's no really more reason to this placement. It can always be changed later, nothing is permanent. I'll get a different bush now because I don't want it too samey. Back down, set it spinning, and just put there. See, I like this one because it can fit between things, trees and things. I'm not going to put anything here, I want to get this space clear. I may even change the floor though. I'll put a couple here because this is a nice background shrub. One there, one there, one there, one here, one here, one here, one here. Just play around, just put them where you want, anywhere you like, completely random. You can always change it later. Nothing is written down to say that once you put it down you can never ever move it again. It's completely up to you. If we hit tab so I can actually see what I'm doing, pick another bush, any bush, this one. Let's just go, that's little. Alright, let's go through them. Put them a couple there, one there. Now I don't want to overload this scene because there's a lot going on already. So I'll just do a few more. Enough fern? No, I don't want a fern. Big fern, maybe? Yeah, a few ferns. Well, one there. One there. One there. And a couple there. One there. One there. I didn't do the tab thing, so this thing's going to go everywhere, but it should be okay. Small tumbleweed. What's this? No, I don't want them. Some flowers maybe. Jungle tree. No, I don't want any new trees in the scene. I'm going to stop there. Stop. Save. And now I'm going to test the game and get a feel for the scene, and then we'll probably stop there. So, loading level, loading terrain, loading entities. Do a big save, and then test game. Click. I may introduce lighting into this scene next time, but I may not. I've not decided yet, actually. I probably will. But at the moment, I like this. This is kind of what I had in mind when I envisaged this scenario, because it's mystical, it's magical, it's otherworldly. And this is where your hero is coming to try and save his liege's castle. And there's going to be the teleporter back home. So it's like zing, and then you go back to your forest once you've achieved your goal here. Which, let's make this actually a comment thing. It's either going to be a magical book or a magical weapon. So whatever you'd like to see, make the comment and I'll see if I can introduce it. Until then, I shall see you next time.